Let's say you walk into a museum and you see a beautiful painting on the wall. You really enjoy it and you want to use it for your research project. Problem is, your research project requires primary resources and you are not sure if the painting counts as one. What do you do? In this presentation, I'm going to explain to you how to determine whether or not an artwork is a primary resource. Before we learn how to determine if an artwork is a primary resource, we first need to know what a primary resource is and how it applies to art. A primary resource is a first-hand account of an event, such as an autobiography, a diary entry, or a photograph. Before photographs were invented, the best way to spread visual, first-hand accounts was for artists to bear witness themselves and make artwork based on their own experiences. In order to determine if an artwork can be used as a primary resource, it can be ran by the CRAP test. The acronym CRAP stands for Currency, Relevance, Authority, Accuracy, and Purpose. The first letter, currency, tests to see how recently a resource was made. In the case of artworks, some can be hundreds of years old but can still be considered current because art's ability to be timeless. The second letter of CRAP stands for relevance. Relevance is how relevant the source is to whatever is being referenced. A wonderful example of this will be a diary entry written by a soldier in World War II. In the case of the artwork shown, even though it's not objectively about World War I, Franz Marc was inspired by the political climate right before World War I broke out, making it a great primary resource for the uneasiness and political unrest during that time. The third letter, authority, asks whether or not a person is in the right to create a primary resource. Was that their own experiences, or were they based on someone else's? In my example, the person who made the painting, based on their great-grandfather's experiences, would have the authority to make it a secondary resource, but it wouldn't be allowed to be called a primary resource. The fourth letter, accuracy, helps determine whether or not the source could be considered accurate to the event. Was the artwork made to capture an event accurately, or does some of the artist's bias have any sort of effect on the product? Sometimes feelings can give an artwork a more authentic feeling, or it can give the artwork bias. Just because it has emotion, it doesn't have to be considered inaccurate. This section needs to be considered carefully and on a case-by-case basis. Lastly, purpose is used to determine what the intentions of a resource are. Was a painting made for a loved one, not meaning to be viewed by thousands? Or was it a piece of commissioned artwork for propaganda? The purpose of art greatly affects its ability to be used as a primary source. A piece of propaganda artwork may be unable to be used as a primary resource in a project about certain events, but would be used as a primary resource about how artwork sways public opinion. While this part is important, it also needs to be used on a case-by-case basis. All 5 categories work together to determine whether an artwork is a primary source, and sometimes getting an answer isn't as easy as you would think it would be.